Alright, it's back to school time for all you suckers that still go to school. Now, in celebration of learning, I've put together a list of strange, fascinating, and creepy historical events that probably aren't going to be on your curriculum this year. So, pull out your pens and paper, or whatever you kids use to take notes on these days, because class is in session. I'm your online teacher, James, and these are the top 10 terrifying historical events you weren't taught in school. And we're starting things off at number 10 with the Sultana Explosion. The Sultana Explosion was a major disaster that happened during the American Civil War. On April 27, 1865, the steamboat Sultana, overloaded with Union soldiers recently released from the Confederate prison camps, exploded on the Mississippi River near Memphis, Tennessee. It is one of the deadliest maritime disasters in US history. The ship was designed to carry around 376 passengers, but on this particular day, it was carrying an estimated 2,100 people, including Union soldiers who had survived the Confederate prison camps like Andersonville. And the boat was overcrowded because the government paid a bonus for every soldier transported home, and the Sultana's owners, eager to of course make more money, ignored safety regulations. And the explosion occurred around 2 a.m. when the steam boilers ruptured, causing a massive fire. The disaster claimed the lives of over 1,800 people, many of whom were killed in the explosion, while others drowned or succumbed to injuries and exposure in the cold river waters. The exact cause of the explosion is still uncertain, but it was likely due to a combination of factors, including overcrowding, poor maintenance of the boilers, and the use of low-quality materials in the vessel's construction. Next up, we have the various types of human species. This is something that has always fascinated me. In the very distant past, there wasn't just one or two, but a total of 8 different human species that roamed the earth. These ancient relatives of ours existed at various times and in different parts of the world. Some existed at the same time, though. We Homo sapiens are the only surviving human species today. That's pretty obvious. The history of our family tree, though, pretty diverse. One of our earliest cousins was Homo habilis, who lived in Africa around 2.4 million years ago. They were skilled tool makers, scavengers. Then came Homo erectus. Probably heard of them. They appeared around 2 million years ago, and they were the first to venture out of Africa, spreading to Asia and beyond. Neanderthals, of course, or Homo neanderthalensis, lived in Europe and parts of Asia for hundreds of thousands of years. They were skilled hunters. They even created art. It's believed we just killed them all off, but some of their DNA actually still lingers in our population to this day, particularly amongst Europeans. Then we had Homo floresiensis, known as also hobbits, who inhabited Indonesia's Flores Island and stood like 3 feet tall. That'd be about, I guess, this. Homo naledi, a recently discovered species in South Africa, and we can't forget, of course, about the mysterious Denisovans, known from DNA extracted from a finger bone. They're an ancestor of both Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, though. They lived in Africa, Europe, and Asia. And finally, this one here lived in what is now Zambia and Zimbabwe. Number 8, rat kings. This is just really icky. I remember when I first heard about this, I cringed. Just the thought of this is awful. Rat kings are an odd and incredibly eerie phenomenon that has been reported a number of times over the years. So these occurrences involve groups of rats, typically 4 to 8 of them, becoming entangled by their tails, forming this like disturbing rat cluster. Pretty gnarly sight. The exact cause of rat kings is kind of a mystery. Some experts speculate that it happens when rats nest closely together in warm places and their tails become intertwined over time. Others suggest that it could be a result of just chance, of course, or unusual behavior amongst the rats. Rat kings have been reported in various parts of the world: Germany, France, and the United States. Number 7, the Tanganyika laughter epidemic. This one is very strange, similar to the dancing plague. If you watch this channel consistently, you know what that is. The Tanganyika laughter epidemic of 1962 is one of the strangest events in history, and I only just learned about it today. It all began in a remote girls' school in Kashasha, a small village in what is now Tanzania. Started with just 3 students who suddenly burst into uncontrollable fits of laughter, seemingly for no apparent reason. What made this phenomenon especially baffling was how infectious it proved to be. The laughter quickly spread to many of the other students, affecting 95 out of 159 girls at the school. And these episodes of this hysterical laughter varied in duration, lasting anywhere from a few hours to several days. They not only disrupted the normal routine of the school, but also extended to the point the school was actually forced to close its doors. Even more perplexing was the fact that the extensive medical examinations conducted at the time didn't identify any physical or infectious cause behind this odd behavior. And the main theory among experts is that the laughter epidemic was psychogenic, so it stemmed from psychological or emotional factors rather than some physical source. Believed to be a form of mass psychogenic illness, where the power of suggestion played a significant role in triggering and perpetuating the unusual laughter, kind of like that dancing plague. And at number 6, we have the Somerton Man. So this all started when an unidentified man was found dead on Somerton Beach near Adelaide in 1948. In his pocket, authorities discovered a scrap of paper with the words Tamam Shud, meaning ended or finished in Persian. This scrap was traced to a rare book of Persian poetry found in an abandoned car near the beach, which contained a secret code that has still never been deciphered. And there were extensive investigations, but the man's identity still unknown, and the cause of death still unconfirmed. Autopsy results suggested poisoning, but the specific poison used was never identified. And even more strange, all the labels had been removed from his clothing, and there was no identifying marks or documents in his possession. Like with any mysterious case, this one has given rise to a number of theories and speculations: espionage, a secret love affair. But despite amateur detectives and even experts' attempts to crack the case, the mystery of the Somerton Man is still a mystery. We're taught a lot about World War II in school, and rightfully so, but there's a very interesting unit of the Allied forces that you probably weren't taught about: the Ghost Army. During World War II, a highly secretive unit known as the Ghost Army played an interesting strategic role in deceiving the enemy. The unconventional unit was composed of artists, designers, and even actors tasked with creating elaborate deceptions to mislead the Axis forces. They employed a wide range of clever tactics: inflatable tanks, trucks, and artillery to create the illusion of this massive military presence where there were actually just a few soldiers. These inflatable props, known as rubber dummies, were so convincing from a distance that they fooled enemy reconnaissance planes. Sound and radio deception were also major components of their operations. They broadcast like fake radio transmissions, imitating the sounds of large army movements, complete with phony chatter and like code words. This all misled the enemy about the locations and intentions of Allied forces. And they would also use deceptive camouflage techniques like painting fake vehicle tracks and creating dummy airfields to divert enemy attention away from the actual Allied targets. This unit played a big role in some significant portions of the war, like the Normandy invasion and the Battle of the Bulge, by confusing and distracting the enemy. But a lot of us didn't learn about this in school because the Ghost Army's existence remained top secret for decades after the war, with their efforts only becoming declassified in the 90s. Number 4, the Basano Vase. The Basano Vase, or vase, a cursed, spooky tale connected to an old vase from the 15th century. This vase, also known as the unlucky vase, has a creepy reputation for causing terrible luck and even death to its owners. The story goes that the vase was made in Italy as a wedding gift, but brought misfortune to the newlywed. Bride died unexpectedly soon after the wedding, and from there, things only got worse for the owners. Accidents, illnesses, and untimely deaths seemed to follow anyone who came into possession of the thing. Even people who just handled it reported bad luck, injuries, and just a general sense of doom surrounding it. And because of all this dark history, the Basano Vase Vase has garnered quite the reputation and has survived through the years, now sitting in an Italian museum. Visitors are warned about its curse, and many find it eerie and unsettling to be around. Next on the list, we have the Devil's Footprints. In February of 1855 in Devon, England, all you English people, you always schooling me on the pronunciation. Is it Devon? Devon? Anyway, a series of mysterious footprints resembling cloven hooves appeared across a vast area of snow-covered terrain spanning roughly 40 to 100 miles. Local residents were unsurprisingly pretty surprised and deeply unsettled by these odd China tracks. Each footprint measured about 4 inches in length, followed a consistent single file pattern as if they were left behind by a two-legged creature with hooves. Now, there's not a lot of solid evidence to sift through with this case, which makes it hard to really take a stance on. It's not like we have photographs of the tracks or anything. Still unknown exactly what caused these tracks. There are tons of theories, of course. Maybe it was just an elaborate hoax, or maybe there was something supernatural going on. Considering when this happened, someone pointed to the devil being the most likely culprit at the time, and who's to say, right? It could have been Satan. There's also speculation that it could have been caused by some exotic animal like a kangaroo. Somehow made its way over there. There aren't any known records of kangaroos having been in the area at the time, of course. Most likely this was Satan. And at number 2, we have the Flannan Isles Lighthouse disappearance. This revolves around the eerie disappearance of 3 lighthouse keepers on a remote Scottish island in 1900. On one December morning, a passing ship noticed something strange. The lighthouse's signal wasn't lit. When they attempted to make contact via signal rockets and a horn, there was no response. So concerned, they reported the situation to the mainland. A rescue party was dispatched to the island, and upon arrival, they found the lighthouse keeper's quarters in a state of disarray. The beds appeared to have been hastily abandoned. Personal belongings were left behind. There were no obvious signs of a struggle, though. The kitchen table had even been set for a meal. Even stranger, one of the clocks had stopped, and the lighthouse's logbook contained some strange entries. On December 15th, an entry noted severe winds, but the final log entry on December 26th simply read, "Storm ended, sea calm, God is over all." There were searches of the island and its surroundings, but the 3 lighthouse keepers, James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur, were never found. And coming in at number 1, we have the USS Cyclops. Yes, we have a Bermuda Triangle mystery for you. The disappearance of the USS Cyclops in 1918 is a maritime mystery that has never been solved. This massive US Navy cargo ship with 309 people on board vanished without a trace while traveling in the Bermuda Triangle, a region known for its mysterious ship and plane disappearances, of course. The USS Cyclops was on a routine voyage from Brazil to Baltimore, Maryland, carrying a load of manganese ore, but it never arrived at its destination, and no distress signals or messages were ever received. There was a massive search by both the US Navy and the Coast Guard, but no wreckage or debris from the ship was ever found. The ship that just kind of vanished into thin air. Numerous theories had been proposed to explain the disappearance: storms, structural issues, possible sabotage. Some, of course, believe that the Bermuda Triangle's supposed supernatural properties played a role here, while others suggest the ship may have fallen victim to enemy action. This was during World War I. The USS Cyclops remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in maritime history and the largest loss of life in the history of the United States Navy, not directly involving combat. With all that said, I'm your host, James, and I'll catch you, yes, you specifically, in our next lesson.